David here with Figboot on pens, back again with another fountain pen review. Today I have for you a pen from the Italian brand Scribo, and that would be their Piuma. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of this pen, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for about it. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. Thanks go out to the good folks at Applebaum for providing this pen on loan for review. I recently received a very nice care package from Applebaum, which contained a number of very nice pens, so you will be seeing each of those in upcoming reviews. The pen arrives in this box. The top slides off there. Scribo is based out of Bologna, Italy. It was founded by a number of folks who used to work for another Italian pen manufacturer, Omas. They founded Scribo after the original iteration of Omas went out of business, maybe like 6 or 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. Scribo translates from Italian as scribe, but it also translates from Latin meaning I write. But according to the company, the name is actually a portmanteau of scritta, which is writing in Italian, and Bolognese, referring to Bologna, which is where the factory is located in Italy. I like that the name has multiple symbolic meanings, even if some might not have been necessarily intentional. The top flips open, and then inside we have a couple of things. There is a use and care guide in this little slot here. And then we have this really nice canvas sleeve. It's made from some very firm canvas. It has a leather strap as well and some leather pouches and some pockets. I like when you're provided with something to store or carry more than just the pen you're purchasing here. It has 2 slots for pens. In the large pocket here, there is a polishing cloth, which is always nice. Piuma is the Italian word for feather. This model is available in a number of different materials, but there are 3 recent additions which were inspired by gemstones. There is the agate, which is a deep blue-black and translates to agate in English. There is the corniola, which is a vibrant orange, and that translates into carnelian. And then here is the ametista, which is the Italian word for amethyst. And appropriately enough, the pen is a deep amethyst purple. And then here's a look at all 3 together. I think they make for a really nice set. Here, especially in this picture, you can see how the resin on each of these pens has a really nice creamy pearlescence. I think they're really clean and sharp looking. And the version I have to show you today is the ametista. This is a limited edition model. Only 219 of each color in this gem series will be made. I like this deep amethyst resin. It has a fair amount of, like what I described as creamy chatoyance, and the waves of color variation really give this material a sense of movement and life. Let's start by taking a look at the top of the cap. It comes to a flattened edge. On the very top, it's inlaid with a metal disc with the Scribo feather logo. Then we have the clip. The clip is rather basic. It's nothing that really stands out, but it does fit in well with the overall aesthetics of this pen. It does work well in materials of varying thicknesses. The cap angles up just past the clip where it straightens out. The transition from the cap to the barrel is fairly smooth. Now, running down the length of the barrel and cap on either side of the pen are 2 flattened lines. They're rather subtle. Unless you catch the pen in just the right light, it's really tough to see. You can feel it though. It's a really subtle design element. On one of the bands, it's engraved with the name of the company, and then on the opposite side, it's engraved with Made in Italy. I do like that there is a single cap thread, so the lines on the cap and barrel will always line up when the pen is capped. That's a really nice attention to detail. The cap tapers down at a fairly even rate of decline until you reach the end where it comes to a flattened point. The cap twists off with a little over 1.5 rotations, and underneath we have a real highlight of this pen, which is a very nice number 6 18 karat gold nib. This nib is available in a wide variety of sizes. Extra fine, fine, medium, broad, double broad, even triple broad, and a stub. It's also available in a 14 karat gold flex nib, which can be found in either extra fine, fine, medium, or broad. I do like the feel of writing engraving on the nib. Having a phrase like that on the nib is rather unique. And here's a look at the low profile swooping ebonite feed. Now, it is my understanding that when Omas assets were liquidated, Scribo purchased all of the nib making tools. So these nibs are all manufactured in-house using the equipment which was previously manufacturing Omas nibs. And Omas nibs are, from what I have tested, outstanding. This pen here has a double broad nib, which I will demonstrate here in the writing sample, but it is extremely smooth and performs very well. It's a real joy to use. The feed begins with a blocky ring and then angles up just slightly before you get to a metal ring, the threads, and a fairly large step up to the remainder of the barrel. Now, I typically grip my pens closer to the end of the section, so this rather large transition is far enough back to be out of my way. But if you're someone who likes to grip your pens a bit further back on the section, that transition might impede your grip a little bit. The Piuma is a cartridge converter pen. It accepts standard international cartridges, and a converter is provided. With the metal contained within the section housing, eyedropping this pen is not going to be recommended. The Scribo Piuma is available in several different models on the Applebaum website. I will put a link to it in the notes below. This particular model retails for right around $525 or close to that, depending on the current euro exchange rate. Overall, that's on the high end of what I feel the value proposition is for this pen. The overall design is sleek and simplistic. It's nothing out of the ordinary, and it doesn't have any real visual features that really jump out at you, other than this resin, which I do care for a great deal. The nib, however, does stand out. It is fantastic and really makes this pen very much worthwhile. Thanks again go out to Applebaum for providing this pen on loan for review. Now it is time for some measurements, size comparisons, and a writing sample. Here we go with some size comparisons for the Scribo Piuma Ametista. I wanted to give you another closer look at that resin. I really like it. Like I said before, it just has a bit of life to it and some creamy pearlescence. But in regard to some size comparisons, this is what it looks like with a Classic Pens LB5. And then here it is with a Pelikan M805. And then here it is with a Visconti Homo Sapiens. Here it is with a Sailor King of Pen Pro Gear and a Mont Blanc 149. Then I thought it would be appropriate to compare it to an Omas that I have here, which is the My Lord. And then finally, I mentioned that I had a number of pens that Applebaum provided that I'll be reviewing, and another one from Scribo that I'll be reviewing in the near future is this one right here. And this is called the Laudata Ninfea, I believe. And that one has, again, some interesting resin to it. And this one actually has a 14 karat gold flex nib on it, so that should be interesting. But that's what it looks like in comparison to the Piuma. In regard to uncapped comparisons, here it is with the Pelikan M805, the Sailor King of Pen Pro Gear, and the Mont Blanc 149. Here we go with the writing sample for the Scribo Piuma. And this one specifically is the Ametista. This is an 18 karat double broad, and it is very double broad. And I thought I'd match it with one of my favorite purple inks, which is Cross violet. This is what the ink looks like. It's just a nice, solid, vibrant violet. It's just really dense, and I like it. This is another one of my favorite purples, which is the Pilot Oroshizuku Murasaki Shikabue, as well as the Mont Blanc Beetles Psychedelic Purple. All of them are nice. This is what the cross bottle looks like. Has a nice lion there on the top. I actually need to get a new bottle. I'm getting maybe to where I only have about a third left, and I use this a lot, so I need to be on the lookout for another bottle of cross violet. And here we go with the rest of the writing sample. Uh-oh, I'm gonna run a space. Not if I squeeze. Like I said, this double broad nib is very smooth. It's very nice. You can get a lot of line variation out of there. And it is very wet in regard to ink flow. I'd say this is going to be more on the wet side. In regard to reverse writing, it has a lot of feedback to it, not necessarily scratchy, but the ink flow is a little more limited on the reverse writing. And then in regard to some fast writing, the feed keeps up very well. So there we have the Scribo Piuma Ametista. There's a lot to like about this pen, especially the resin. I just think that it's a classy and sharp looking resin. And you know, here you can see in the light now how you can kind of see that band that's here on the cap and barrel, and you can see it on the back as well. It's kind of hard to see when you're just looking at the pen unless it catches in the light. But I would strongly encourage you to check these out on the Applebaum website. I have a link in the notes below, and it's something I've enjoyed testing out. So until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.